Hello everyone, welcome back to Affinity for Commander, where today we're taking a look at which is the best Precon commander from the release of the new commander decks from a Modern Horizons 3. Or to give it its proper title, Modern Horizons 3 Commander Reloaded. Just before that though, as always, if you like any of the cards you see here in this video today, be sure to make your purchase through any of our lovely affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps the channel out quite a lot. Now, each of these decks themselves have two different legends in them. So first I'm going to be explaining what the legends are, and then deciding which is the better of the two, with doing final comparisons at the end. First up, we have the Eldrazi Incursion deck, headed by Ulalek Fused Atrocity. Ulalek is a 2/5 Eldrazi legend for Wooburg or colorless mana. They are devoid, meaning they do not have a color identity, and read, whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell, you may pay 2 colorless. If you do, copy all spells you control, then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. You may choose new targets for the copies. Now, Ulalek just seems like they're going to be grinding out huge amounts of value by doubling up on loads of cast triggers that really impact the game, the type that, Eldrazi tend to have. Now, away from his ability, there are other things I like about him. The fact that he is 5 colours, despite the fact that you can also just use entirely colourless mana to cast him, and therefore getting stuck on colours isn't really a thing that's going to be happening in this deck. Well, at least not when casting your commanders involved, at least. But back to that ability, it is just insane to get a board state instantly, or just get double Ulamog triggers, because, well, why not? Or just be able to get 2 lots of Thief of Existence. Ulalek just seems like a massive powerhouse Eldrazi commander designed to use any and all spare colorless mana to just give massive blowout turns. Whether that be doubling up on insane cast triggers, or just being able to generate a huge amount of spawns and scions, which can then be sacrificed to use Ulalek's ability again. This card's insane. But speaking of spawns and scions, we have our other commander to consider. Azlask, the Swelling Scourge, seems designed to take advantage of all these particular Eldrazi tokens. A 2/2 for 3 generic mana that reads, when Azlask, the Swelling Scourge, or another colorless creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. And for Wooburg, creatures you control get +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Scions and spawns you control gain Indestructible and Annihilator 1 until the end of turn. Okay, so first of the good things is that even if you just have 4 scions or spawns out, being able to activate that ability and give them all Indestructible and Annihilator 1, completely regardless of that buff he gives, that can still be just utterly backbreaking for some decks. As a quick reminder, Annihilator is a trigger that when you attack with that creature, the defending player has to sacrifice a permanent. So this gets around anything like Indestructible, Hexproof, Shroud, and can also cause people to sacrifice their lands due to that Annihilator trigger. But unless you desire to make a Scion or Spawn deck, I really can't see Azlask outdueling Ulalek in any way. Ulalek just has so much more potential and so much more power in their ability. Now, I do like Azlask. I do like the fact that it is playing with the Scions and Spawns sacrifice triggers so they can then actually get more experience counters to buff up your board a lot more. But if I'm being totally honest, after playing my Eldrazi deck for a long time, having amounts of power isn't the issue with that deck. So that legend is literally looking for low to the ground Eldrazi, which again is a totally fine deck and will be a nice overrun effect, and the Annihilator 1 is still backbreaking. But Ulalek with that double up ability is just quite frankly too good to pass up. So Ulalek hands down wins this one. Moving on to the Graveyard Overdrive deck, this is a Jund deck that's headed by Disa the Restless. Disa the Restless is a legendary human scout for 2 generic, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 black mana. She is a 5/6 and reads, whenever a Lagoif permanent is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it onto the battlefield. And whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to your player, create a Tarmogoyf token. Firstly, can we all just collectively mourn that the once boogeyman of Modern has now been reduced to a literal token? Sorry, big man. Now, there are more Lagoif cards coming in Modern Horizons 3 for sure, but the ones we already have are par at best. The greatest thing you can say about them is the fact they are above the vanilla test most of the time, especially with a bit of black mill going on as well. So for Disa to make an absolute standout in Commander, I think we're going to have a lot more Lagoif cards that really have value packed onto them, just so you can go Entomb, put something into the graveyard and have it come straight into play. If there is a Lagoif card that is amazing, being able to, for 1 black mana, put something into play from your library, yeah, that's what's going to make her absolutely amazing. So we have to wait and see what else is in the deck, or what else is going to be spoiled. We are in green, so we can play cards to double up the Tarmogoyf tokens though, and that is always just funny to me. Now there is a funny interaction you can do where you just make all creatures in your library have the Lagoif creature type, but that doesn't really make it amazing for me. Yes, you get to put something into play when you entomb it, but that's some hoops to jump through rather than just, playing a normal Jund value deck. The other Jund commander is Koram the Undertaker. A 0/5 legendary human warrior for 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green, and 1 red. He reads, Koram the Undertaker gets +X+O, where X is the greatest power among creature cards in all graveyards. Whenever Koram attacks, each player mills a card. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a spell from among cards in graveyards that were put there from libraries this turn. So Koram is a lovely Jund grindy value engine that lets you play cards that were milled this turn, and thankfully has a little mill ability on himself to be able to do that even if you've got nothing else in hand or any other effects in play. Now unless other people are playing massive Eldrazi, I don't really see how Koram's going to be having a huge power, unless you get lucky with some of those mills. But the 5 toughness should be enough to keep him safe when he attacks to get that trigger off. And then that does give you 4 more cards to play with that turn. I've only got 2 real grabs for this card. Number 1, the fact that he doesn't have any evasion, like Menace would have been nice. The only other thing is the fact that it's only 1 spell a turn, and I know the fact that if you had some manner of mill engine going, milling everyone for 10 cards that turn and being able to play everything is a bit much, but we're allowed nice things, remember. Equally, Koram makes sure that you are paying the mana for that spell, and it doesn't even allow you to do it with any colour. You still have to pay the white or the blue mana for that white or blue spell you've just milled. So you better be hoping you've got a lot of good mana fixing stolen from your opponents to do that as well. So personally for me, just because I'm kind of really hoping out for some good Lagoif cards, I'm still going to go with Disa being the actual head of this deck, with Koram being there to just mill hopefully some of our good Lagoif cards on his attack, so Disa can put them straight into play. That'll be good. Now moving over to the Creative Energy deck, because we're back to Jeskai Energy. Again, for some reason. The legend headline in this deck is Sacha Aetherflux Genius, a 3/5 for 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white mana. He has haste, menace, and reads, whenever Sacha Aetherflux Genius attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to 1 other target non-token creature you control. You get 2 energy, and at the beginning of the next end step, sacrifice that token unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. Okay, let's be honest here, Sacha is absolutely amazing and I love them. The fact they get to come out with haste, hit straight away with menace, so hopefully we can just hit the person with only 1 creature, and then being able to create a token of something that's hopefully got some lovely ETB or on damage effect, and then have it stick around forever, because let's be honest, there's a lot of energy cards going around lately. And you get 2 energy to do it anyway? Yeah, Sacha essentially to me just reads, make a token that's a copy of creature you control every turn that's attacking, which, yeah, that's pretty good. Now unfortunately, because the token comes in already attacking, you don't get any on-attack triggers, but that's the smallest of wrinkles in an otherwise fabulous card. Now the other legend that's got a lot to live up to is Kaith, Famed Mechanist. Kaith is a 3/3 for 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 white, and 1 red mana, and has Fabricate 1, so she enters either with a +1/+1 counter on her, or creates a 1/1 servo token. She gives other non-token creatures you control Fabricate 1 as well. And for 2 generic mana and tap, you may choose to either populate, so create a copy of a token you already control, or proliferate, where you can add another counter to a permanent where it already has one of those types of counters. Now, beyond the possibility of proliferating your energy counters, Kaith and Satcha are going in very different Jeskai directions. Kaith is wanting to have like Thopters and Servos and massive amounts of artifact synergies. Cards like Animation Module are going to be a straight staple for this deck. And then once you've amassed your Artificid army, then play some like Tempered Steel and just swing in for game. Kaith, however, I just don't find goes hard enough with this. Now, yes, she does allow every creature to come in with a 1/1 that can then be populated, but that's not really enough for me. Satcha, meanwhile, goes really hard in his theme and is essentially a fantastic commander that gives energy payoffs, which can then maybe even make you creatures that give you more energy for more payoffs. Whereas Kaith's ability just seems very middle of the road. It's not wowing me like Satcha is. Kaith, I think, would just be a very good 99 card in something like Breya, for instance, or any good Jeskai artifact deck. And now on to the last deck, Tricky Terrain, headed by Omo, Queen of Vesuva. Omo is a 1/5 human shapeshifter for 2 generic and 1 hybrid green or blue mana. She reads, whenever Omo, Queen of Vesuva, enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is every land type in addition to its other types, and each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type. Now, almost seems like one of those cards that can be built around in 100 different ways, from giving all of your opponents each type of land, so your land war creatures can make sure to hit into every opponent, all the way right down to giving your land every single type, so you can have Urza's land shenanigans going on. Or even just get to play any Simic Kindred deck you want by being able to put counters on other creatures to make them the type that you want for your deck synergies. For instance, play Merfolk. With Omo as a commander, play a Creator of Behemoth. Attack, suddenly, that Creator of Behemoth now has gills and benefits from all of your Merfolk's Island Walk. She does seem super fun and super silly, and there's going to be a number of weird interactions with her. You do just need to remember though that those counters, the everything counters, don't have that ability themselves. Omo gives those counters that ability. So if she's not out, no matter how many lands have an everything counter on them, they're just normal lands until she's in play again. The other legend from the deck is Jyoti Moag Ancient, a 2/4 for 2 generic 1 green and 1 blue mana. They read, when Jyoti Moag Ancient enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green forest dryad land creature token for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. And at the beginning of each combat, land creatures you control get +X until the end of turn, where X is Jyoti's power. So this elemental essentially makes Dryad Arbors equal the amount of times that you cast your commander, which if Jyoti is your commander, on the first cast you get 1, if they die and cast it again, you get 2 Dryad Arbors. Now, I'm not personally going to spend a lot of time analysing Jyoti for the simple fact that he's quite clearly meant to be a 99 card for Omo, considering the fact that Omo putting everything counts on land has far more synergy than Jyoti does, and whilst that current +2/+2 buff that he gives all land creatures is nice, it's not really enough to make me warrant turning all my lands into creatures and then swinging directly into a Settle the Wreckage. Omo is 100% the better commander here, if only for the absolute nonsense and silliness that you can potentially do with her everything counters. Which now, dear viewer, brings us to the final question. Which is the best? Which, funnily enough, we actually went with the face commanders for all 4 decks this time. That's unusual. But starting off in 4th place, Disa has so far not wowed me with the amount of Lagolifs that we have in play, and whilst her ability can be very powerful and Time Growth tokens are funny, it's not enough to sell me on her as a commander. Omo, Queen of Vesuva, is silly, funny, and will 100% have a broken combo with her by the end of the week. But she is exceptionally build around, and the counters require her to be out, and I'm never a fan of decks that require the commander there just for the deck to function. It's too much of a big risk, personally, for me. You have fun, though. Satcha, absolutely love him. Energy, more passion, more energy, more passion. No, wait, that's not right. He is a clone-making machine and is already well supported by what we previously have for Jeskai Energy, let alone all the new and amazing cards that have come out in Modern Horizons 3 to support him as well. He's going to be amazing. Relevant keywords, great ability. But of course the best commander, the commander that's outselling the rest by a good margin, is Ulek Fused Atrocity. Multiple triggers, multiple cast abilities, more and more Eldrazi in the most colours possible, and even a lack of colour as well. Ulek is insanely powerful, and for these reasons and more is my top pick for the best commander for Modern Horizons 3 Precons. God damn Eldrazi, ruining everything. Again. Anyway, that will be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What are cards that you are most excited about coming from Modern Horizons 3? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one of them. As always, this video and all Affinity for Commander content is brought to you thanks to support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too like to support the channel and get access to exclusive EDH related rewards, including our exclusive Discord server and games with Martin and I, then be sure to check out our link in the description box below. You can also support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, commenting, or sharing it on your preferred social media platform. But that'll be it from me for now, guys. As always, I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.